Hi, welcome to the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal video. My name is Danny Milton, and we're at El Dorado Park again. All right, we're at El Dorado Park because we're going to be looking at these beauties right here. These are the Easton Axis arrows, the Nock-on edition. These are the match grade arrows, spined at 260. You can tell I've got a bunch of different vanes on there. We've been doing videos checking, the differences of how these vanes are going to shoot, different weights, all kinds of stuff like that. So let's get into the video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over quickly just my own personal experience building up these arrows. If you want to see a professional do it, you can go onto the Nock-on Archery website and see John Dudley build up these arrows from scratch, from cutting them to gluing the inserts, veining, and all that kind of stuff. He does that over on his website. If you want to see a how-to, check him out. So just quickly, what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to go over my experience of building these arrows and getting them out onto the range. I'm pretty adept at being able to watch a video and figure out how to build something, anywhere from kitchen cabinets to surfboards, all kinds of stuff like that. So for me, building these arrows wasn't that difficult. I did have to make a jig with my Dremel, so I was able to cut these because the 260 spine arrows come in at 34.5 inches, and I had to cut them down to 31 inches. So when you buy these arrows from the Nock-on website, you have a bunch of different choices to make. You can either buy the Axis arrows, or you can buy the full metal jacket. And then once you decide on which one of those you want to purchase, you need to go to their chart and figure out what spine that you want to purchase. Now that goes according to what type of bow you're shooting and your draw weight of your bow itself. You're also going to look at how long you want those arrows to be, and then you go, you match up down on the chart and it'll tell you what spine you should have. According to my draw weight and length of arrow, I'm supposed to be shooting the 260 spine, which is the heaviest and the strongest of all of the spines. When you purchase these arrows, when you buy just the bare shaft arrows, you can also purchase the arrows all veined up and fletched according to whatever you want. That's going to cost more. But I wanted to put these together myself, so I bought just the bare shafts. When you buy just the bare shafts, it comes with the arrow shafts themselves. It comes with a 75 grain brass insert, which you can click part of it off to make it a 50 grain brass insert. It also comes with a little sanding stone. It comes with the epoxy resin, and it comes with the little plunger piece to push in the insert into the shaft itself. So if you need to cut these arrows down, you definitely want to clean the inside tips of the shafts themselves, because there's going to be a lot of carbon fiber dust in there. So after you've cleaned out the ends of those shafts, the first thing you want to do is you actually want to remove the nock off of the shaft itself, because when you go to push the insert in, the air pressure will build up inside and you won't be able to push the insert in far enough. So after you've removed that nock, what you're going to do is you're going to get your epoxy resin. You're going to mix it up on a plate. There's two parts to the epoxy resin. There's a hardener and the actual gel itself. You're going to stir those together really quickly, mix them up, make sure there's not too many air bubbles in there, and then you're going to put a little bit of that epoxy resin on your brass insert, stick that into the arrow shaft, and then you use your little green plunger tool to countersink that insert into the shaft itself. Once you've done all that, you've got all those inserts as far into the shaft as you're supposed to have them. What you want to do is you want to make sure, just visually check that the inserts are in as far as they need to be. One of the problems that I had was on probably about half of the arrows. When I pulled that green plunger out, I must have pulled the insert with it, anywhere from 1 to about 4 millimeters up the actual arrow shaft itself. And when I went to screw in the field points, they wouldn't screw in all the way. So after you put you put your resin on those inserts, you push them in with a plunger, pull that plunger out nice and slow, and visually look inside to make sure that insert is as far in as it needs to be. So after you've done all that, you've got those inserts in there, you want to make sure that you lay these arrows on a flat table. You don't want them tilted like this or tilted like this. The epoxy resin is a very slow cure resin. So if you have any type of gravity influencing that insert, it could slide farther into the arrow shaft, or it could slide out of the arrow shaft. Once you've got that done, you want to let those arrow shafts sit for at least 24 hours, because like I said again, it is a slow cure epoxy resin. So now that your inserts are all dried up, what you're going to want to do is go through the veining process. I purchased all of that stuff as well from the Nock-on Archery website. I bought the Bitzenberger, I bought the arrow, I bought the sample pack of the arrow vanes, bought the wraps, I bought the glue from them, all that other stuff as well. There are several different ways that you can vein these arrows. You can cut down on some of the arrows, you cut down the wraps so that the end of the wrap is a little bit closer to the vane, or you can just leave the full wrap on there. That's just going to add a little bit more weight. You know, you can do a 3 fletch, you can do a 4 fletch, you can even do a 6 fletch using that Bitzenberger. When you purchase a Bitzenberger from Nock, he has it set and dialed into the exact way that he veins his arrows, and I figure if it's good enough for John Dudley, it's good enough for me. So what you're going to do is, once you start, you know, cutting these wraps and rolling the wraps onto the arrows, putting the vanes onto the actual arrows themselves, one other thing I want to let you know is when you have the arrows sitting in the actual Bitzenberger device, the little knock right here goes into the bottom part of it, and that's how, you know, you twist the arrow from vane to vane as you're putting them on, so they're evenly spaced out. What I want to tell you is, when you have that arrow sitting in there, before you put that vane on, you know, you've got the glue sitting on it, it's in the actual holder itself. Before you stick it onto your actual arrow, make sure your arrow is pushed all the way down inside that Bitzenberger, because as you turn it, sometimes the arrow will pop up a little bit and it'll pop out like 1 or 2 millimeters, and then if you don't check it every time, your vanes are going to be all over the place. That's something else I did. So after you're all vaned up, you want to let them sit again, I would say for at least several hours, if not overnight, before you actually take them out to the range and start shooting them. So I've been using these arrows now for about a month, and I really, really like them. They are super stiff compared to the arrows I was shooting. They are much heavier, but they are shooting just, you know, when I'm in the zone and I'm shooting well, I'm shooting lights out. I mean, I'm shooting 10s after 10 after 10, and these arrows I'm getting really good results for them, and I really like them. Just recently, I was at the 3D archery shoot, Riverside Archers, and it was a 42 target shoot. I shot with these arrows, I shot a 398 out of 420, so did a pretty good job that day. I was really happy. You know, I had a couple of bad shots, but those were user error that had nothing to do with the arrow. Every time that I had a good shot on, you know, coming off the arrow or coming off the bow, these things were just hammering that 10 spot all day, and I was really happy with the results that I got. One other thing I will let you know really quickly is you don't have to use that brass insert that comes with these arrows when you purchase them from Nock. You can also buy the Easton Axis Hit insert, which is an aluminum insert, and that is 22 grains, whereas, you know, you can have either a 50 grain or a 75 grain brass insert. For me, I chose to go with the aluminum 22 grain Hit insert, just because these arrows are already, the 260 spine of these arrows are 11.5 grains per inch, and these arrows were weighing anywhere from 543 to 565 grains, which was almost 100 grains higher than the arrows I was shooting. So for me to get a lot of range out of these things, I was not having a good time. I was able to shoot about 80 yards using my top pin on my sight, whereas, you know, an arrow that I have that is 450 grains, I can shoot it with my top sight out to 110 yards. So these are very heavy, especially if you have the 260 spine and you have a very long arrow shaft as well. So something I wanted to let you guys know about. All right, so thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. One of the videos I'm going to have coming down in the future is what I go through to tune these arrows to my bow. You know, we're going to do paper tune, French tune, or a walk back tune, and then I'm going to dial in my scope on the bow to the weight of these arrows. That video is going to be coming in the future. Do all that fun stuff for me, please. Like, share, comment, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, make sure you click that bell notification. That way you do get notified when I come out with new videos. And the last thing you do to help out the channel is click on one of these boxes here. One will take you to a rides playlist, another to a favorite video, and you can click that logo over there, the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal logo, to subscribe. Thanks a lot.